Yo, what's good, everybody? Joey J. Ping checking in live, man. RespectMyRegion.com here today on episode 5 of the California Cannabis Podcast. Today's episode brought to you guys by Sparks Can, the cannabis industry's premier marketing agency for helping you guys as retailers, as cannabis brands, grow your revenue on Weedmaps, Leafly, and Yelp. Guys, if you talk to any retailer out there, they're going to tell you if they're in California, Weedmaps plays a role into it. They're going to tell you about their Google My Business. They're going to tell you about how Yelp is a part of their ecosystem. They're going to mention Leafly depending on what state they're in. But all of that said, it's an opportunity to connect with people where your customers can leave reviews, where you can post photos. And my guy Kevin there is down to help you guys out in all those areas. But today's not about Kevin. Today's not about Sparks. Today is about Tina and Tradecraft Farms. You guys might recognize Tina. She was a guest a few months back towards the middle/end of 2024. We linked and chatted about what she's been up to in cannabis, her career, Tradecraft Farms, and all these things. Tina, what's good? Welcome. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Of course, man. I appreciate you for joining and taking some time out of your day. It is a pleasure. Well, you know what else has been a pleasure? Seeing your refreshing takes on LinkedIn. Tina, you've been more active the last few weeks to months, sharing feedback, your thoughts, perspective. Maybe we'll call it a Tina talk, if you would, right? Somewhat of a maybe rant inspired or frustration, but ultimately you've been sharing some really good game. And so I wanted to allocate and dedicate this episode to sharing more of that free game and really peeling back some of those layers of how to improve vendor relationships, both as a vendor on that side of that fence and then on your side, the retail, and like what that looks like on both sides. And then additionally, how ultimately to bring those relationships into life in a real way, whether it's revenue, right? Money, it's a dispensary, it's a business. How do we grow revenue? But then also too, how do we build relationships with real people? Because you just mentioned, right, you're down in Vista, you were in Port Hueneme before. Those are big, small towns. You know what I mean? Like it's not Long Beach, the city, right? But it is a city, but it's not the skyscraper thing that you envision. These are locals. This is a community.
Community, yeah.
Suburbia, if you would, right?
Yes.
And so it looks so many different ways, but ultimately the people in these areas, they do different things. They go to work, maybe they have kids. Vista's kind of down there towards, there's a water element there with being closer to the coast and kind of being down in that general SoCal culture. Port Hueneme is kind of got that cold weather, but Tradecraft has locations all over the place, right? And so ultimately, I want to talk a little bit today about strengthening relationships between vendors and brands. And so, Tina, talk to me a little bit about, let's revisit, because I think we talked about it in the last episode. Let's revisit what it looks like to be a vendor with Tradecraft Farms. What goes into that relationship? What do you look for when you're thinking about these brands and your partnerships?
So when I'm looking for something, I'm looking at what we're missing, which is going to change every single year as our market develops and new products come online and new brands come out. I look at what am I missing. I think that most retailers have like their core assortment and like their core assortment for products that we all carry, which is like your regular 1 gram pre-rolls, your regular infused packs, eighths.
You gotta have it's basketball season. It was All-Star weekend. You gotta have your starting 5. You gotta have your top 10 categories and products.
So now it's about looking at I don't want to say niche products, because these products that are unique or different, sometimes they end up, being our top sellers. So it's not really a niche product, but it's like, what are we missing? Where are our holes? And I would say the longer we're open, the harder it is to find those holes.
Is that statement, is that like the gloom and doom for the sales rep that's trying to work with Tradecraft? Because at that point, the longer in the game, what that statement means, well, the less needs you have for those, right. There's less holes, right, appearing in things. And you guys actually create your own products. So you guys have expanded the business from just retail to also crafting your own Tradecraft Farms labeled items to fill some of those gaps as well, because you got to make some margin on some of these items.
We actually started reverse. We actually started with just our brands.
Oh, really? I didn't know that that was how it was at first.
Yeah, we started with our brands, and from there we started filling in gaps.
Wow. See, I thought it was always a balance. I must have missed that very, very early days. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, we have several different categories that we have vertically integrated ourselves, which is like gummies, vapes, pre-rolls. But our biggest seller is going to be our eighths, half ounces, ounce bags. And for flour, we sell 50% of our sales are our own brand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that big? Okay, so a couple reasons for that. For years, when the market started crashing or compressing or getting saturated, pick a word, whatever you want to say. When that started happening a few years ago, the buyers that I was friends with, that I really had relationships with, it was very clear, like, yo, some of these, you have too many brands, too many decisions. It's just too much, and just the nature of it was, it's just going old every day, right? Flowers just drying out and getting harsher
Mhm.
technically every day. And if you have too many options, well, you're not really giving there's no chance for something to be the best or to really get that velocity because it's the only thing in that category, right? And I think what I was telling them was like, you guys got to make your own products, and that's going to cut into reps money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a dispensary around for sales reps to have targets to go to sell to at the end of the day. We need y'all to be able to make money and find those creative solutions in terms of profits to do that. And so you just mentioned, you guys started the opposite where you had your own products first and then
Mhm.
you brought in other things. There's only one other brand where I saw did that, and it's High Season at first. They did have other categories of items, but I remember seeing them. They primarily had their own flour and items and stuff like that in there. Um, do you feel like that held you guys back at first? Maybe that was a strategic way. Was it an advantage? What are your thoughts on that?
We transitioned from Prop 215 to Prop 64. Prop 215, we really didn't need that many options, you know? And I think that we carried that same mentality into coming into Prop 64, which is completely different.
Yeah.
So we did like pivot like right away. But when we first opened our stores, we had very minimal third party products in our store.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So you're an OG on this team. You've been around for a game. We went over that on the last episode,
Mhm.
right? What was that process like for you when it comes to that change? Because you got to think, okay, so the episode strengthening retail relationship. Well, at that point, you had none before. You didn't have vendors, right?
No, not really.
You had your like, okay, who do you get packaging from, right? Like those kinds of things. Who do you pay
Yeah.
money to? But now you're buying stuff from people. What was that initial process like? And what was see, going back to your Tina talks? If you could rant about how it was back then, what was that sales experience like for you back then, as someone on the receiving end of sales reps just getting going?
Yeah. So back then, because we were the first store, our first store was in a brand new market.
Mm,
So brand sales didn't even know to try to make a connection with me. Um, and I had to do a lot of the work in trying to find brands to bring into the store. And, coming from Prop 215, I was very, I was very, I didn't know even who the brands were that we could work with. I didn't even know.
it just wasn't clear.
Yeah, I didn't know who to reach out to. So like for me, LeafLink back then was a big help because I just went on to LeafLink, started looking at what brands were available, started messaging them, and making appointments that way. Eventually, when we had other stores open, then I started getting vendors who were coming into the store to meet me. But I would say like the first 6 months were really rough, and I didn't really carry very many good brands because of what I was finding and who was finding me.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy to think about how different, because now it's not like I remember, I think I told you this before, it's not like you're the hardest person to find, but you're a part of a bigger retailer in Cali, and you said you only go looking when you need to go look, when you're looking to fill a hole. So that doesn't mean every day you have the desire to go in your email and look for everything. Like that's just
Right.
not part of your process for how you kill it at your job, right?
Yeah.
And to hear that people weren't even trying or reaching out before, maybe it's because they didn't know or whatever it was. It's just so funny because now people I've had so many meetings with different buyers and managers where it's like, yo, I am overwhelmed. I don't want to do any of that. And then some people do it all their whole life is just this. Like they don't care if it's 11:30 at night and they're not even working at work. They're still doing orders at home.
Yeah.
I've seen
well,
all
I
of
do that for sure. Yeah. But no, it's funny from being back then trying to like find good brands, and now there's so many great brands and I can't work with all of them. I have to like choose. So it's definitely a lot different. It's easier in a way, but it's also harder when you have so many good brands to choose from.
I think it's for me it's like, and some of these groups are these massive distros, right? Where you got like Mammoth and Kiva Sales and Pedal Fast. Like there's just so much potential there for just like if you were just to buy everything and you just took net terms from everybody, you could fill up your whole store really easily with just cheap product, average product. You even get good stuff because brands still want to be on stores, but it doesn't even take that much effort to get that set up like that. It's a matter of can you get it to sell though, right? Like that's the crazy part of it, right?
Yes.
So strengthening relationships, it's got to be a balance of, or you got defining a successful relationship again. So like you're going to fill holes in the store now, but a big part of it is you got to fill the hole, but then that brand still has to perform and support you on your end. What kinds of support are you realistically looking for when it comes to you were a one store and now you're a couple stores?
Yeah. So I buy for all 4 stores, but I move around to like be the GM to whatever store needs me the most. And right now I'm in Vista.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, I forgot the question already.
No. So what do you expect from the brands in terms of support?
Oh,
Whether
yes.
it's a one store location or a multi? What do you
Yeah.
look for? What do you want from them?
So the biggest thing that I want from our brands is to take care of our bud tenders.
Okay.
And make sure that they're not only sampled but educated in their product and being able to sell it and have confidence in it. That's number one for me. It's something that it's always been important, but recently, like we've started adding like SOPs and processes to how we do things. And one of those things is making sure that our staff gets sampled out when we get in a new brand, and then, quarterly samples. And now that I'm having that conversation more, like it's being a more forward conversation with brands, I'm hearing about how many stores don't get the samples to their staff. And I'm just like blown away. And I think that's so crazy because they need to try that product out in order to be able to talk about it and sell it.
I'm gonna put somebody on blast without saying their name, but I'm a victim of that as well. I thought I was building a relationship with somebody at a store up in Hanford, and you send samples, you do this, you do that, you drive the 3 hours, you there and 3 hours back based on word and actions and bond and text and emails and all these things. Come to find out, people are stealing the samples and going and selling them to their people. They're setting up promos and BOGOs and flipping those promos, those 32 units, those 16 units, those 10, those 8, whatever it is, and they're flipping them to people instead.
Yeah.
And so it's frustrating because that's a one-off person, right? But
it's not though.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. And it comes down, I'm going to go so far as to say this because I thought that person was mad dope. And I trusted him just like the other people that he worked with trusted him. We hung out, they hung out. It was like a real people shit, right? That's people lying. That's people stealing. And it's a low quality of talent at the end of the day. And so you want to, as a cannabis, you want to have quality talent at your stores through your management, through your leadership, so that those pitfalls don't happen.
Yep.
Through and through.
And that's something like, I think that sometimes retailers think that like a strong vendor relationship is, getting a vendor to do so many things for you, but we have to do things too. We have to hold our end of that deal too and be trustworthy as well and get those samples to our team. If we set up a promotion, then I should follow like whatever we set up, I should do that and use those promos units you sent me for that, and not try to, I don't know, do something funny with it. I just hear so many stories, and it's like these relationships are strengthened by both people, doing what they said they're going to do and being trustworthy. So, samples is a big thing, and I see it as like a big issue, because it affects, like, other people not being trustworthy affects how people work with me.
100%. One bad egg in your ecosystem is time wasted, spent on something that's bullshit instead of being great, magical, or building community, or creating another opportunity, whatever it is. Be trustworthy, people.
Yeah.
Be accountable. Do the shit you're supposed to do. She's giving you the game right now. This is not that crazy. Can you afford it necessarily today? It's up to you to figure out. I saw a quote: 40-something% of businesses fail in the first year, goes up 20% the next, and keeps going up and going up, and whatever and whatever over time. You got to do whatever it takes to not be part of those statistics, folks. And we create these episodes. Shout out to Sparks Can. We create these episodes to share the game. Tina puts it out there on LinkedIn. She gets out from behind the email. She's not just an email, real human, right, Tina? Real person. You really care about this weed shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love it.
So we talk about getting you. We talk about the samples. We talk about supporting the store. So to summarize, sample drops to the store when you bring on a brand. Obviously, gotta get the staff involved, and don't penny pinch the samples. Brands. Oh, how much staff do you have? Cool. You send a third of the full staff. Nah, bro. Send 36 units for the 36 people that work there. Stop penny pinching it because you're worried that they're not going to be there in a week. You know who's not going to be there in a month? Your brand, when you're not getting a reorder because those 34 people got samples from a different brand and are selling that brand. You can't be short-sighted, right? It costs money to play the game. It costs money to play the game, folks. It costs money to play the game. Okay, now, so sample drop on the first one, and don't penny pinch. I'm going to add that. That's my layer in, my spicy layer.
Yeah.
And then bud tender education. Once the brand and the products arrive and start getting pushed, bud tender education once it's on site, right?
Yeah. And so what I'll say about that too is, like, sometimes I see people coming in and doing bud tender education, and they straight up are just reading from a PowerPoint, and they don't have any type of love or personal stories or any information like, hey, this is how you sell our brand. These are the objections you might hear, and this is how you overcome them. They're just reading off a PowerPoint, and the staff is like bored and not engaged. I think I lost you. Hello. You're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That was crazy. I've never had that experience before in my life. Folks, this episode was going so great, and then my laptop just decided to turn itself off and turn itself on again.
Oh no.
Not a single time has it ever done that, ever in my life. Okay, so where were we? So I had just asked you about bud tender support when products officially there, right?
Yeah. So education. I was talking about education, and that, we have a lot of the times, I would say, people, when they come in here to do education with our staff, they're reading off a PowerPoint, and they're not talking about personal experience. They're not talking about selling points, or, hey, this is an objection you might hear, and this is how you overcome that. So I think that education also needs to come with, like, this is how you sell this product. Because what I'm seeing is they're kind of boring. Like, there's not a whole lot of engagement from the staff. when you're just reading off a PowerPoint. Like, you could have just sent that to us and we could have read it ourselves, you know? So
Yeah,
I think that there's an
experience will
opportunity.
actually take advantage of the educational opportunities. I think about what exactly you're saying in these different layers of like really, really, really what you're saying. And it's like, okay, we want the bartender to care. We want them to get educated. We want them to be able to be empowered. We want them to be able to look intelligent, to be able to deliver high quality customer service. We want them to be incentivized a little bit as well. And that's where there's this balance of relatability, energy, excitement, passion. How do you relate to with each of these people? I'll go back to we never did business together, right?
Right.
So when I do trainings, which is when I have done trainings, when I do them for my brand or with the occasional times I go do it for the homies at Dank Vapes, it's connecting with the people that are there. You're only getting 4 to 8 people at a time. If you're lucky, you're getting 4. If you're lucky, you're getting 8 in a room. Realistically, it's like 2 to 3 at a time during a shift, right?
Yeah.
Or if not, one-on-one. So now you're talking about interpersonal skills. Why do you work here? Why are you a bartender here? What do you enjoy about this? Great. So you love helping people. You love smoking. You love dabbing. You love eating edibles. Right now you're on a tolerance break. Great. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Ask some questions, build rapport, build a relationship, understand the person in front of you, and then empower them to hit your goals. Oh, you work here because you got a family, you need to make a job, and you couldn't, you was doing this before, you want to be here? Hell yeah, dude. Brother, let me get you a hoodie or a shirt. I love that story. Right there, it's such an opportunity to just listen and care about somebody. And it is our job as a sales rep to share the stuff and to have stuff, a merch available or whatever it is. So brands got to create that and work that in. There is no better way to build relationships with these bartenders than to ask questions, listen, spend time, and then give them things that look cool, make them feel cool, make them feel appreciated, probably more importantly than anything else. Because we're talking about it's retail, right, Tina?
Yeah.
As much as it's cannabis, it's still retail and it's a job. It's a job. They got to wake up every day. They got to drive their ass through traffic or wind or rain. Like, I'm from Seattle. It's cold as shit when you're in the morning opening up a store. It's not easy doing this stuff. And you think about people getting, sometimes it's dangerous. Not say Tradecraft Farms is dangerous, but again, it's not easy working in cannabis, right?
Right.
So what do you, when it comes to some of this nitty gritty details, it's like really connecting with the bud tenders, right? You think about how you said why even send it? Why even just, if you're going to just do the PowerPoint, why just send, why even, you just read it ourselves, right? It's like, why not do more in that experience with the staff, right? Have you seen, well, let's do this. What are some things that haven't worked? Let's talk about that. Let's dive into that. What hasn't worked to help your team?
That.
PowerPoints? What else?
Let's see. When we have demos and the BA is outside hanging out with his friend that he met up with all day instead of talking to our customers, or looking at their phone, that doesn't help our sales at all.
I tell you what, I can't stand the brand ambassador that sits down. Can't stand it. I think it's super tacky. Would you agree?
Yeah. I can't stand like a bad BA that's not interacting with customers or our staff. If it's slow, it's like you're just taking up space in my store. Things that also don't help. I would say, so here's something that it really bothers me. I don't like when I work with salespeople who are order takers. So I don't hear from them. I don't get emails from them. I don't get updates. I don't know what's going on with their brand. But they hear from me when I place an order, and that's about it. And so I would say that there's quite a few brands that we work with that have that going on.
I'll admit, hey, I'll be the first for those of you guys watching. I speak a great game and a thing, but in California, for me, that's all I am at this point because some brands that I work with choose not to do the support that it takes. And so it becomes, well, don't even consider us for the opportunities if we're not going to even be a part of any of them properly, right?
Yeah.
just taking up space, right, Tina?
Yeah.
It sucks and it's frustrating. And I'll be the first, like I said, I'm the first to admit I'm literally having to do that in California with my friends in the space because of what I just said. So,
Yeah.
to work past that to get to the solution, both these are real questions that I have as someone trying to earn business across the state. But also, it's just more importantly how to just earn and build and strengthen relationships to the core foundation. It's not just about the bud tenders, it's about valuing the relationship enough to really come prepared, to really care about the value and be intentional about the impact we're all trying to have, right? In your case, making money.
Yeah.
So when which is Tradecraft Farms, I mean, obviously these businesses were all money motivated, right? We're trying to make money, we're trying to pay these taxes, right? We're trying to pay and grow and grow and grow, launch more stores, all the things. Is Tradecraft more money motivated, or is it more culture and how it does its strengthening of its relationships?
I want to say it's a good balance. I would say it's a good balance. Yes, I want money, but I also want to work with good people that I like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
And that's okay, right? It's okay to do both.
Yeah, it's going to be easier for me to achieve those goals when I'm working with people that I like and that understand who we are and our culture. Um, yeah, so it's a healthy balance of both.
What are some of these things that you guys do in real life? Because digital is one thing, it's sending assets, it's a part of it. It's a grind to do digital collaborations, don't get me wrong. But ultimately, when you combine digital with physical real life, that's when traffic and shit shows start happening
Yeah,
sometimes, right? And so, or people, I did an event, Open Hall of Flowers last Santa Rosa. I met up with the brand and was supposed to bring all their shit. Half of their shit got left in my trunk, half of it made it. Shit happens. It sucks, but that's
yeah,
real life. As soon as you start doing shit in real life, right? What do you guys do in real life for your guys' community, for your customers in these different cities you guys are in these different communities? What do you guys do to build community, to build relationships? What kind of strengthening relationship opportunities are there for brands with Tradecraft Farms?
yeah. So we have an SB34 event. So like we help our veterans in our communities. At our Vista and Port Hueneme store, we do a monthly drop. And we're going to soon be launching that program at Lancaster and Almonte as well. So we'll have it at
Amazing.
all 4 stores.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's something really big we do. We also, every Thanksgiving, we do something called Gobble Gobble Give, where
I
we feed
like that.
homeless.
Okay.
And then in Christmas, we usually like raise funds and donations, and we drive through Skid Row in lowriders with Santa Claus, handing out like tents and essentials to the people who are living out there. We have a monthly customer appreciation day at all our stores, where we have like big hookups and promotions, promo items that we give out to everybody, food. Yeah, so that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, but we're always looking for different ways in doing things with our community. Here in Vista, we're going to have our first consumption event in March 15th, which is so exciting. We're going to have like a concert with Burner. All the stores, brands are going to be there representing themselves. So that's so exciting. And we're hoping to definitely be a part of that.
It's going to be dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be dope.
Excited. Yeah. So yeah.
When it comes to the like digital, as I mentioned, digital is an important component to building loyalty, which I feel like building loyalty and community can be strengthened through digital as well.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of digital collaborations do you guys do that you've found success in? And to specify even more, California is a weed map state. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys do on those marketplaces, specifically, whether it's weed maps or a leafly or a leaf, whatever, just any leaf thing? Like, what do you guys do in that brand collaboration space to ultimately strengthen your partnership and maybe grow revenue or acquire that loyalty or that customer?
Last year we did some campaigns with different brands on weed maps, and like we got that intro banner when you sign into weed maps and did like collab promotions. For Port Hueneme specifically, because that area is just so saturated with so many different stores that we had
Mm-hmm.
to get our name back out there again. It did help a lot to, like you said, Weed Maps is really big, especially out there right now, because there's so many stores and people are looking at what deals each store has, the prices. They're always just compare shopping, and Weed Maps makes that easy for people to do. So we teamed up with like a bunch of brands, and that was really successful. In the past, I've also done some campaigns with Can. This was probably one of my favorites, where we did it was like a geo target. We geo targeted different locations. So we did like bars and stuff like that, and the college area, and we were able to send them ads to their phone, and then also track if they came into our store.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really successful and really helped launch Can when we first started working with them, and nobody knew who they were. And
Wow. So
that was one of my
that
favorites.
sounds like some version of programmatic. It
Yeah,
sounds like.
yeah. So yeah, those are some of the things that we've done. We've done a few different programmatic stuff. I honestly don't think it's we have found the best way for digital advertising, especially because there are some restrictions that we have to deal with in cannabis. So it's been kind of a little bit, that's been a challenge for us for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The different tools that exist out there obviously weren't created for cannabis unless it's a cannabis industry thing, and then a lot of that is reliant upon technologies like the Facebook, Meta platforms or Google or these other things that obviously weren't created when cannabis was being considered for any form of legalization. Period. Right. So they're all adapting as well, so to speak. So I
Yeah.
think that statement there is pretty true. Um, nothing is where it should be just yet in terms of what we can do advertising wise.
Mhm.
What you mentioned the different events that you guys do there in person. I love the SP34. I've been a part of those in the past. Big fan of what I think it's Weed for Warriors, right? That's the
Yeah.
name of the group. Yeah, big
Um,
fan of what.
we don't really do it. We don't do it with them. We just do kind of like our own thing, and I just reach
Oh,
out to our
cool.
brand partners for support.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
That's even better. That's super cool. Well, either way, my experience was with them doing it with a couple of different groups, and I love the fact that you guys have put the effort in to figure out your own version. I've got so far we've pretty much freestyled on most of the questions that I've had. I do have some that I did put together that I would love to explore with you. What do you think about that?
yeah.
All right, here we go. So when I think about the relationship with the brands, you've got to different demands in terms of flowers, a really big category. You've got vape, right? You got pre roll, right? These brands participate in a variety of different ways, right? In Cali, you've got BOGOs and discounts. You've got events. A lot of them do private secret events, and we all smoke up and do cool things, and it's fun and crazy. Like what do you really recommend that those brands do to build community before maybe they work with you guys as a store? How can a brand get on a certain level where it's like, oh yeah, cool, we need that in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can a brand do before they even get in the store to really get on a radar?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Mm.
I, that's a really good. That's a really good
We,
question.
we, 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 we've been out here for a while. It's like, do you just spot? Because like, if you're down there in Vista, does Vista have a community for someone to pop in and do stuff in?
Now we do, because
Mm.
we're open for consumption now, and there could be private
Oh.
events and things like that. I will
You guys have
say,
a lounge at your Vista store?
what was that?
You have a lounge at your Vista store?
No. We can't do it inside the stores, but at other like
Mm.
private events or businesses, we could do consumption
Oh
now.
wow! Oh cool! Oh wow! Okay, that is huge. Wow, I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah.
shoot, man, there we go. We gotta go down there and do something fun then, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So something like that actually would be possible in Vista, and I think that would be amazing. I know that Classics is a really good example of this. Classics is a brand from here in San Diego, and I carried them because I know Matt, and we had a relationship prior to us opening our Tradecraft Farm store. And so when we became legal, they became legal. We were like, cool, let's get this brand in. But our staff that we had at the time wasn't familiar with them. They didn't really care. It didn't sell. But then they had a party down in San Diego, and my staff went. They all got dabbed out. They were all smoking joints, got super stoned. After that, the brand took off. And that's all it took, was for our staff to feel special, to actually try it without coming out of pocket for it. And, you know, Classics is a really big brand and staple for us, especially here at the Vista store ever since that event. And they've done us some other things too. And it's funny because, you know, brands always ask me, what can we do? What can we do? And I always tell them about things that Classics has done. And one of those things is they incentivized our staff with, of course, money. They did, like, you know, for every Classics item you sell, you get $1. But on top of that, and this is where it really drove sales, it wasn't necessarily that dollar, but it was, if you sell 10 items, you get a sample. You sell 25 items, you get 3 samples. You sell 50 items, you get a t-shirt. And then they went up to like 100 items, you get custom Van shoes. And the staff went crazy. Our sales went up 300% for Classics with this incentive program, which is insane. And I've told so many brands about this, and not one has tried to duplicate it. But everybody asks, what can we do? What has worked? And I let them know, but they're like, oh, okay, well, what if we do 50 cents per item or $1 per item? I'm like, okay, but I just told you what to do.
That plus the different goals, the different 10, 20, 100, 1,000, boom, big reward.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, you know, I think it's pretty dope to be able to do that. I don't know. I know in some states that's absolutely not allowed, but I do know, you know, with that being able to happen here, you know, it's a matter of figuring out how that works. You know, does everybody just get, you know, a wallet, like a card, right? Some kind of card that you can just put points on that they can use and spend on shit? Is it dollars? Is it real cash? How does that actually work?
So we use Sparkplug, and Sparkplug makes it easy because it's like the bud tenders have it on their phone. They get updates on their phone. They know how much money they have, everything.
Sparkplug.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing the game, Tina. Okay.
And it's really doing it. So I'll, you know, any retailer that isn't on this program, get it, because there's so many brands that use it, and it's free for you, and it's money for your team, and it's only going to help, you know, make them happier and improve sales, because a happy team is going to do well.
I mean, yeah, and they all, you know, they sell 1 to 2 to 3 of those per hour. They're making $3 more per hour.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
And it comes down to like how many, and if you can figure out the math, how many units you need to move to make this much, guys, sounds to me like the bud tenders are a big partner on the dollar per unit scale, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Pay your sales reps better. Pay the bud tenders $1. Got to figure that out in your ecosystem, everybody. The game's getting shared for free, folks. Courtesy of SparksCan.com. Make sure you guys tap in. Marketing agency. These guys specialize in help you guys on Weed Maps, Leafly, Yelp. That's, you know, working with Kevin and his team, Gina, it inspired me to reach out to all these different retailers across the country to talk about what they do marketing-wise, what works. Today's about strengthening retail relationships, and you're saying, if you want to, yeah, guys, she said 300% increase in sales. That's pretty easy to say that if you get a $5,000 order, 300% could increase on that alone to $15K just by figuring out how to do this.
Yep.
Just by figuring it out how to do and work at the numbers differently. But because people are so inflexible, or maybe they're afraid to dip into their current margins, it's a really tough decision for whatever reason we've seen, right? As you said, nobody else has been willing to do it.
No.
Crazy. But we know it's been done. I do remember seeing Connected back in the day, maybe Alien Labs too, doing some kind of bud tender reward for like how many eighths and stuff you'd sell. And I think I've seen the same thing for 7-10 Labs, if I'm not mistaken. So those two, but not the same thing we're talking about to that degree. And those brands are obviously pretty different at scale compared to a Classics. Now, Tina, I know you've been with me. We're just about wrapped up with the episode. Let me go ahead and bang out a couple more questions with you. I always try to do some kind of cool, fun ones. If Tradecraft Farms was going to throw like a music festival, right? And you, who are also, you're the procurement person, right, for them. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just say you also had to procure the talent for said festival. Who would be your headliner, like day 1, day 2, and day 3 for our 3-day Tradecraft Farms music festival?
We would definitely do Cali Reggae. And it would be like Stick Figure, Revolution, and Iration. Easy.
Damn, she said, "Ooh, easy." I
Easy.
love that. I love reggae, and I know the community down there. Anything south of, anything just basically south of LA is huge, 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 huge reggae. San Diego included in that. So big shout out to that creativity. All right, in terms of showing love to some of your Tradecraft Farm products, you are a buyer. You've tried a lot of the different products. I know you know what's best of the best. We'll get to what's the best of the best recommendations for 2025. It's still the beginning of the year. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Best Tradecraft Farm products that you can recommend if someone that was trying to buy affordable, save some money, or buy in bulk, ready to go.
I would get our Tradecraft Farms Pure Michigan strain. It is our best strain. It's so good.
Nice.
That's all I buy from us. We have other good strains, but this one is the best, and I literally buy like an ounce almost every week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would
Okay. That
say
got
that
me
would be our
interested
number
there. What does that go for at your guys' shops?
one. $40 an eighth.
Woo! Okay, so 8 of them, $40 an eighth. What is that? How much for the ounce?
200.
That's a deal. It's a deal
Yeah.
for some quality indoor.
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. If you had to pick one gummy flavor, what is it?
From us?
Yeah.
Ooh, it would be our cactus cooler.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that too. That's fire.
Yeah, and it has a little bit of CBD in it, so it's like a nice mellow high. It's like a 4-to-1 ratio.
Mm. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I love when there's a good ratio of these other minor cannabinoids and THC. THC makes me dehydrated when I eat it. I mean,
Oh,
obviously that's smoking too, but like I wake up in the middle of the night when I
yeah.
eat just too many regular gummies. It happens every time. Um, okay, last and final question. We'll end with a good one. It's 2025 now. You obviously, hopefully you're still getting samples from all the brands in the state, trying to get in the shop and earn the business. We got Hall of Flowers from Santa Rosa we went to last year, and Ventura last year. There was just Hash Angeles, and there's Olympics coming up. There's competitions and great weed everywhere, man. SoCal is blessed with cannabis, right? Great beverages, great edibles, events, dabs, rosin, live resin, carts. We got everything everywhere, and it's relatively affordable depending on where you're getting it from. And but it's time, Tina. It's time for Tina's top 10, like Sports Center. Da-na-na, top 10 products that you recommend people try if they're looking for the best of anything, any category, California. Let's do starting 5 first. Actually, let's do the back 6. Who's your back 6? We'll get to the starting 5 after
Ooh,
that.
I think I could go better the other way with the top.
You want to go top, just top down?
Yeah, let's do the
Run
top.
it.
Okay,
Run it.
so right now my favorite gummies are going to be Potter's gummies. They are sugar-free. There's not a whole lot of sugar-free stuff on the market.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, all natural flavors, all natural ingredients. So they're really good gummies. So I really have been loving. And then also Keef Cola just came out with a slim can, 25 milligrams THC CBD, also sugar free. I love it.
No way.
Yes, yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna have to try that. That's my dose. That's my dose.
Yeah. And then for flour, we don't carry this yet, but I absolutely want to get it in. The flour was amazing. It's a newer brand called Made. They're in Arizona. They're going to be coming to California. And the flour was so amazing. It's really, I mean, I have to do a lot of homework. So it's rare when like a joint hits me. And this one, it was very potent. Flower was beautiful. Taste was amazing. Everything on point.
Wow.
For vape,
Name.
for vapes, I'm gonna say Juiced is one of my tops right now. They're a really good brand. It's a live resin. They have amazing flavor, great potency. I love the look of their packaging as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are going to be my top 4. And let me keep thinking. I wasn't prepared. Let me see.
No, this is good. We hit you with it. We hit you with it.
um,
Top 5. The 5th and final spot on the top 5. The pressure is on.
I'm gonna for my 5th one. I'm gonna say traditional. I love
Ooh,
traditional. They're solid. It's not something new, but I think they're a really solid brand, and their flower is very consistent um, in quality. So I'm gonna say traditional. It's gonna be
I
another.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You there at Tradecraft, you guys have most, if not all, of the top brands in the state. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say you guys also have Emerald Sky as an edible there. Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
Love those. They have. I just told somebody yesterday that is the best peanut butter cups in the country, and
I just had some yesterday. They're so good.
and I stand on that. It's just a little bit of salt, and like that just really does it, and the flavor of it just really phenomenal. They have some delicious gummies that are pectin based as well that are really delicious and flavorful, and I want to say live resin as well. Um, you have some really great flower options, some joint options, just some really great vape options in there. What would you say? Who's really standing out in that extract category? Let's talk to those rosin head. Let's talk to those dabbers. What are your thoughts there? Who's the standout in those spaces for you that you've seen of late?
So our top right now is Bear Labs. Bear Labs is consistently one of our top brands when it comes to concentrates and even
Mm-hmm.
rosin. But next would be 710 Labs is going to be our second top seller, which they're both really good.
Yeah,
But a brand that I'm going to be looking to get in here soon would be that I'm really excited about is Mountain Man Melts.
yeah.
Yeah,
Won some awards, been active in the culture. People definitely know who they are, trust the quality. Just about making sure that they do it right
it was
when they're.
so good. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. They got some really great flavors. Big shout out to their team as well. Tina, I really appreciate you spending time with me here today on the episode. It's always a pleasure getting to hear your perspective and being able to share the floor with you here on our stream. I hope that you find these convos and then sharing this game valuable with your goal of impacting and helping these vendors maybe do it better. You know what I'm saying? Or whether it's with your guys' store or other stores. I think we're doing this to really try to help people ultimately. And so I appreciate you joining. I'll give you the floor by yourself here. What would you like to leave the people with today?
Oh my gosh. Follow me on LinkedIn.
I love it. Spell your name for them so they can look you up. What's your
What was
name on
that?
LinkedIn? What's your
Oh,
name on LinkedIn? So they can look you up?
Christina Tinoco.
Easy. And your last name is Tinoco?
Yes,
Easy
correct.
enough. Christina Tinoco, folks, make sure you all tap in. I appreciate you again, Tina. Thank you so much, folks. For those of you that need help growing your brand's retail CPG line revenues, take this advice and apply it. Take the plan, take the time, make the plan, make a spreadsheet, understand your numbers, work to understand your numbers better than you've ever done it before. She's given you the game. This is a four store, right?
Yeah.
4 store, 5+ year long running retail that's been doing it, guys. Millions and millions and millions of dollars in terms of cash flow. Probably seeing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of customers in multiple cities, right? Building community. You've worked with probably at least 100+ brand I've seen go through the ecosystem of Tradecraft Farms over the years. And so take the advice. She's given the game. Make sure you all tap in on her LinkedIn, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Big shout out to Sparks, our sponsor. Visit sparkscan.com for marketing help on Weedmaps, Leafly, and Yelp, or reach out directly to me. We're trying to help you guys grow your